Hello, my name is Mason Rancourt, and I am doing a portfolio review for one of my pieces. Um, to start with, this is my piece. I call it Dwellings of the Caves. It's one of my earliest pieces, really. It's honestly my third thing that I've done to put in my portfolio. Currently, it is my latest, but probably one of my earliest also. So I'm gonna do a bit of a review of it. The original design of this piece, if you take a look at my thumbnails, was very different, I suppose. Although the general placement and everything was the same, the time of day was very different. I mean, it was set in the daytime. It had a lot more brightness to it, and it very much changed because I thought I really didn't like to have too much brightness in this. I wanted to have it dark, gritty, and have it show a lot more detail in the nooks and crannies of the rocks. This is probably my favorite piece that I've done so far, just because it turned out very good. Not quite exactly how I wanted it to in the end. There are a few flaws in it that I can see very clearly, but that's why I review all my work and try and improve it. And I will be going back to work on this again. But when looking at my thumbnail, I actually had a third character. Someone was climbing up the pillar trying to reach the other person, and it really took away from the impact of the character reaching to the sky, because it was just a little too much going on. You couldn't really see the character either because he was really camouflaged by the bushes. Looking back at it now, if I had that character in here, I don't think it would have been too bad with the bushes because the bushes are a different color, and when looking at my thumbnail, it was black and white. Um, the thumbnail was one of three that I did. This one, and then there were two others. One very well, I really like the lighting effect that I'm going for in this one, so I tried for two other thumbnails that had a similar lighting source where you're facing it and it's kind of bright, but also you can really see the shadows and see all these deep grooves and everything. The second idea I had was essentially on a cliff face, kind of halfway up a mountain, where you were looking over the shoulder of a character, and looking at a character who was very dark with a very fine light shining off of him. It was interesting, but I found it didn't. It had a lot of direction, but it didn't have a focus. My third one was a mountain with waterfalls beside it on a cliff face. It was one of my favorites when I was doing the thumbnails, but I generally decided against it because it had focus, but it didn't really have enough direction. It had a lot of good elements to it, but without direction, your eye kind of tracks off the page. So I decided with my first one in the end. The things that I like about the first one are it really grabs your focus because you have this opening, and when your eye tries to track off of it, it gets bounced back by the surrounding rocks and the roof of the cave. Um, the color scheme for this was very different. I wanted to do rocks, but I wanted it to be purple because when doing very shadowy things, you want to have a cool color to kind of like tell you that this is getting darker, and it's just really color theory. So when you look at the characters, they weren't really designed all that well. I mean, when I say designed, I mean I had no design for them. I just did a cloak and a head when I first did them, and the only one that I put any real detail in was the one on the pillar with his arms stretched out, and that was the only detail. Uh, this character at the back, I did a little bit differently than when I did my original thumbnail. The character was originally just standing there. With the angle of the rock and the kind of direction that he's supposed to be facing, I felt that he needed to be interacting more with the environment than just standing on a slope, because it just doesn't look natural. Um, the character on the rock, or the character on the pillar, is reaching out. That was the whole focus of this. I wanted to give it a feeling of he wants to be free, he wants to go out of the cave. The whole story behind this was there's these three characters and they finally reached light and they want to get the best view of it. They're trying to reach out to the light, trying to be happy, I suppose would be the right word for it. They're just ecstatic that they finally found the outside world after being in this cave for so long. That really drive the character design. When I went back and actually added in details to the characters, I made them kind of short, kind of dull colored skin, very pale faces. Um, so the general idea behind the characters' clothes was they've been in this cave forever and they've gotten dingy, they've gotten a little ripped, they're not the greatest clothes. The butterfly was one of the last things I added to this. It was a last minute decision. Originally it was blue and very bright and very... It just didn't look good because it kind of, with the purpley color of the caves, it really just blended a little too much. So I changed the color and added in the stream behind it, and it ended up looking like flames. I really like that. It changes the whole tone of it. It makes it pop, essentially. I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna do probably one more thing. My least favorite part about this is the sky and basically everything outside the cave. I will go back and redo this eventually, hopefully soon, and probably do another review of it to have more time. But I really dislike the bushes. They're very flat to me. Also, the sky, I wanted to add in stars and have a constellation. I felt like it distracted from the whole image as a whole because it lost the focus because the sky was too bright. But now you see the sky is very bland, very dark. The moon I have less problems with, but it's still an issue for me. I like the lines that I've added with texture, just creating this unique feel to it. But at the same time, it isn't. It's supposed to brighten up the sky, but I lost that when I added in the texture. That's about it for now. I'd like to go back and redo this. So that's it for now, and thank you for watching.